My name is Ed Young. I'm a children's book author and writer. I do this illustration for this book called Cat and Rat. Um, this is what it looks like. Um, do you know what that animal is that's looking out? That's a cat. And what is she looking at is in the front of the book called Cat and Rat. And what she's looking at is the rat. And the story is about the cat and the rat, why they became enemies. And this is a story that is legendary in China, how the 12 animals have become the zodiac animals. That happens every year during Chinese New Year. And we celebrate the Chinese New Year by celebrating one animal for 12 years in cycle, and then they come back again. And this is a story that tells the story of what happened that cat and rat has become enemies. And once you start seeing that, you can see the whole book now with the cat looking for the rat, and then the rat is trying to get away. In China, a long time ago, there lived a cat and a rat. They were best friends. They ate together, they played together, and they slept together. One day, the emperor decided to hold a race among all the animals in the land. The first 12 animals to cross the finish line would have a year in the Chinese calendar named after them. This would be an honor. But winning the race would not be easy, warned the emperor. You must run through the forest and then swim across the river at its widest point. Cat and rat each wanted to be the first to cross the finish line, but they knew that they would be two of the smallest animals in the race. We'll never make it, rat complained to cat. Oh yes, we will, said the cat. We asked the water buffalo to help us, said the cat. He could give us a head start. He always wake up before sunrise. Maybe we could even ride on his back. So the cat and rat convinced Buffalo to wake them up early on the day of the race. The next morning, the buffalo was up long before dawn. Wake up, lazy bones, he said to the sleepy cat and rat. We had better start it. Cat and rat climbed on the buffalo's back, but they were too sleepy that by the time they had fully awakened, they were halfway across the river. Rat woke up first. He saw the emperor standing at the finish line far, far away. Why should I share the glory of first place with cat and buffalo, thought the rat selfishly. Wake up, my friend. Look at all the tasty fish swimming in the water. Cat licked her lips. She leaned over for a closer look, and the rat gave her a little push. Splash! She tumbled into the water. Buffalo turned his head to see what made the splash. He didn't see the cat, though. What he saw instead were the other animals in the race, and they were close behind him. Without giving the cat and rat another thought, he sped toward the emperor. Just at the buffalo near the river bank, the clever rat leaped from behind his ear and crossed the finish line in first place. How did such a small animal win the race? Asked the emperor in surprise. I may be small, but I'm also smart, replied the rat as he scrambled onto the winner's podium. Buffalo knew he was being tricked into second place, but he could only grunt in dismay. Back in the river, Cat tried to swim to win the race. She hated water, but if she had to swim in it to win the race, she would do so. Far ahead of her, Tiger came roaring across the finish line. Am I first? He growled. No, said the rat smugly. You have to be awfully smart to beat me. And you have to be getting up early enough to beat me, added the buffalo. Cat scrambled onto a log. She paused to shake herself off and catch her breath. But then the sky was dark and a great storm was brewing. A dragon appeared in clouds above. He was much too big to run across the forest and swim across the river. So the emperor had told him he could race through the sky, braving the rain and storm. But no sooner had he begun to descend to the earth than Rabbit darted across the finish line in front of him to take fourth place. The dragon had to be content with the fifth. In the river, the cat heaved a great sigh and plunged into the river water again. I can still make it, he told herself. But Snake slid across the finish line next and hissed a silvery greeting to the five animals who had arrived before him. Snake was number 6. Cat swam as fast as she could. A few moments later, she heard the sound of galloping horse in the distance. Horse thunder across the finish line in 7th place. Goat and Monkey weren't far behind. They jumped onto the log on which Cat had rested and paddled across the finish line almost at the same time. But Goat beat the Monkey by a hair. While the 9 winners waited patiently with the emperor, Cat watched Rooster struggle across the finish line. Dog could easily have swum ahead of Rooster, but she couldn't resist playing in the water just for a few minutes longer. Number 10, called the emperor as the rooster staggered in. Number 11, he cried when Dog arrived. Who will be the number 12? Asked Emperor. I need just one more animal. Me, I will, called the cat, and she swam even faster. Unfortunately for the cat, Pig rushed across the finish line in front of her. Number 12, cried the Emperor, but Cat was still too far away. Congratulations to all the winners, said the Emperor. One of the 12 years will be named after each one of you. Suddenly, up rushed the cat. She was tired and wet and more than a little unhappy about swimming the river on her own. How did I do? She asked anxiously. Am I one of the winners? Sorry, dear cat, replied the emperor. All 12 races have been filled. Upon hearing this news, Cat let out a yawl and tried to pounce on the rat. Her claws scratched the tip of the tail, but the rat squeezed under the emperor's chair just in time. And this is why, to this day, cat and rat are enemies. These figurines represent the spirit of the 12 animals, and they're in people's clothing, the robes, because the human spirit that has the animal in them. And there were figurines carved to go to a nobleman or his family in the tomb, and made out of jade. And most ordinary people would not have that kind of ornament to go with them in the burial. I would say these spirits are supposed to accompany the dead to go to a place when the Chinese would say in the West, where all the dead people go. Huangquan is the spring of the yellow spring of the West. I have made 2 drawings of the ox and the rat in my charcoal drawing. So, you actually see stone rubbings in China that stone rubbing is something that's carved on stone. And then you put ink onto the stone, and then you put a piece of rice paper, a wet paper right on top of that, and it soak up the ink onto it. It has images like that. So it doesn't have particular lines on it. It's not drawn by lines. It's made by inking on the stone. So the lines that you see are usually white because that's the carving in the stone so that the lines are indented in it. And you put a soft padding on top of it and dampen it. And then you start to get the gradation of the form. And this is in the fashion of a stone rubbing in China. And then I made the charcoal to look like that. So I have 12 animals. I'm just showing the 2 of them to give you an idea that the stone rubbing is a way of Chinese art, folk art, from graves and tablets and things like that. So many of the things that passed down from China is on stones. And the jade that you see are the ones that actually last a long time, and the gravestones, the tablets and things like that last a long time. And then we take records from that by putting something on top of it with ink. And then you do an impression like printing. So this is the kind I got the inspiration for doing my 12 animals. If you wonder which year you were born and what animals you belong to, I will give you maybe a little hint of what each animals has a personality, which you probably know pretty well by the story, but then I will read you the personalities of those animals so that when you find yourself to be that animal, you have the virtue of that particular animal with you. And the red represent opportunity. A red child, a person who was born in the year of the rat, is clever, he's bright, sociable, good planner in business, also a collector. The ox represent cultivation. It's about seeding and grounding. It's about putting ideas to work. It's about laying foundations. And if you're born in the year of the ox, you are dependable, you're honest, you're steadfast, you're conservative, you're trustworthy, and you can go against all odds. You're stubborn. And the year after the ox is the year of the tiger. It represents confrontation. You're much braver than most other animals. Your courage, you meet challenges, reach out, you're bold, you're direct, you take challenges, and you thrive with external growth. A tiger child is an extrovert, ready to take on anything. The year after the tiger is year of the rabbit. It's about solutions. You like to revolve, you want to correct yourself, you want to make friends, you're good with teams and colleagues and friends. You're one of the most popular of the 12 animals. A rabbit child likes to reflect, renovate, forgive, a peacemaker. After that comes the year of the dragon. Dragon represent expressions. It's expansive, it has great visions, optimistic. The dragon child is sociable, changeable, unpredictable, strong, and volatile. The year of the snake comes after dragon. It's about rooting. It's about pulling in to reflect, to regroup. It has the capacity to, in one's effort. A child born in the year of the snake is creative, nourishing the realms of life, fertility, flexible, mysterious, and earthy. The year of the horse follows the snake. It's about progress. The child of the horse is impulsive, has quick starts, more restless, optimistic, energetic, outgoing, ready to go by drop of a hat, improving herself in the world. The year of the ram, which is a goat or a sheep, is about inspiration. The child of the ram is about ambition, reaching for high grounds, sure-footed, gentle but ready to meet challenges head on. It's about conservation of animals. The year of the monkey follows the goat. It's about discoveries. A monkey child is wise, clever, egocentric, enjoying surprises, optimistic, not grounded in reality, willing to gamble risks. The monkey child is wise, egotistical, ready to take on challenges. The year of the rooster follows that. It's about reawakening. Rooster is about timing of beginning and endings. It is about to face opposition with optimism, take it on with stride. A rooster child is sensitive to colors, fashions, and proportions. The year of the dog follows the rooster. It's about team, it's about centering. The year of the child is about association, it's about teamwork, it's about being watchful, protective, and it's a leader who guides. The dog child is loyal. The year of the pig is the 12th year, the last year of the 12th. It's energetic, it's bold. The pig child is strong-willed, ready to self-sacrifice and putting things into action, resolved and ready to throw out the old for the new. And that is going back to the red year again after the 12th year. So I hope that you'll find out which year that you're born, you will have the characteristic of that particular animal. And the year will have that kind of hope. And each year is hopeful and it has a characteristic of that animal. So I hope that you enjoy the reading and that you have a chance to read the book. Thank you for listening.